Welcome back to our free learning platform Catalyst for IIT JEE. This is the fourth lecture of the lecture series on chemical kinetics, and in this lecture we are going to talk about the integrated rate equations for first order reactions. So in our lecture 3 we discussed about zero order reactions and their integrated rate laws, T-half or the time of completion, and here also we are going to talk about the integrated rate equations, half-life, time of completion for first order reactions, and interestingly we are also going to talk about the pseudo first order reaction. Okay, so let me brief what we have learned in our lecture 3. So in our lecture 3 discussed about zero order reactions, where we have seen that the concentration of a reactant, if you consider this reaction where A is your reactant and B is your product, the concentration of reactant changes with time in a linear fashion, right? So in a linear fashion means, so it gives you a straight line with a decreasing slope or negative slope, where the slope is minus k here, correct? And the intercept is a naught. We have seen that before, and at this point the concentration becomes 0. That means your reaction is complete now. So this time is called the time of completion, right? Now similarly here what we see that initially your concentration was a naught, but after some time your concentrations becomes a naught by 2. So the time which needs for this change is called the half-life of the reactant, correct? And the half-life can be written as a naught by 2k, that we have also solved, and the time of completion can be written as a naught by k, correct? So here for zero order reaction, what is important to note that the half-life is dependent on your initial concentration. So if you increase the amount of your initial reactant, so the half-life will increase. But we will see in later slides that for first order reaction the scenario is a bit different. Okay, so that is why I just pointed out this point. So please remember that T-half is dependent on the initial concentration. Now for first order reaction, let us consider this reaction where A is again your reactant and B is your product. Now the rate can be written as the concentration change with time. Now as we are writing the rate in terms of the reactant, we need to put a negative sign, correct? So rate can be written as minus dAdt. Also for first order reactions, we know that rate can be written as proportional to rate proportional to A, concentration of A to the power 1. This 1 determines that the reaction is first order in nature. So to remove this proportionality symbol, what we need to do, we need to put a constant which is called the proportionality constant, and here it is called the rate constant. So rate is equal to k A to the power 1. So combining these two equations, what we get rate equal to minus dAdt equal to k A to the power 1, which is equal to Ka, correct? So now we can write this as minus dAdt equal to Ka. As you can see that this is a differentiation, correct? So this equation for first order reaction is called the differential rate equation. So this is the differential rate equation for first order reaction. So we will need this equation in later slides, so please remember that this is the differential rate equation where the concentration change of the reactant is equal to Ka A to the power 1, correct? Now let us look at some examples of first order reaction. Hydrogenation of ethene. So ethene is a saturated hydrocarbon. Ethene is also known as ethylene. The formula of ethylene is C2H4. The degree of unsaturation or the number of double bonds here in this molecule is 1. Now hydrogenation means the addition of hydrogen. Now in this case, the addition of hydrogen in this ethylene molecule leads to the product formation of ethane, which is a saturated hydrocarbon. Now this reaction is an example of first order reaction. As I said that for first order reactions, the rate must be proportional to the concentration of a reactant to the power 1. So here it is experimentally found out the rate is equal to K, the concentration of the ethylene, to the power 1. So that is why this is a first order reaction. Also, the second example is the radioactive decay. Now the radium is a radioactive element. What it does, it emits alpha particle. This is the alpha particle, which is nothing but a helium 4 atom, and along with this alpha particle it changes to radon. Now this radioactive decay always follow this first order kinetics. So if you learn how to solve this first order kinetics, you will all eventually learn the decay kinetics of radioactive elements. So this is the this chapter or this lecture will also help you to understand the radioactive decay kinetics. So here the rate can be written as rate equal to K, which is the rate constant, and the concentration of the reactant, which is here is your radium, to the power 1. So these are just two examples of first order reactions, but there are many more. Okay, so now let us look at some detailed calculation on integrated rate equation of first order reaction. Now the reaction you have seen before, and this is the differential rate equation for first order reaction. Now here you see that you see minus dA, and here you see the A. So you need to take all the same type of variables in one side. So I take this A this side, so I get dA by A, and you put this minus and dt sign dt on the other side, so you get minus kT. So now you start integration on both sides. What you get, so K is a constant which is not dependent on T, so you can take it out of the integration symbol and you can put it outside. Now dA by A, if you do the integration, what you get ln of A, and dt, if you do the integration, you get T. Now let us look at here. This is your reaction, this is the reaction scheme, and initially at T equal to 0 you have the initial concentration of the reactant A0, but after some time, after T time, you have concentration A. So at 0 time, what was your concentration? It was A0, and at T time you have A. So this is how you need to put the limit. Okay, now from the limits what you get this ln A, this is the upper limit, minus ln of A0. So this is the lower limit. So you need to do this always, right, as we have seen in zero order kinetics as well. So upper limit minus lower limit, and here on the other side you get minus K into T minus 0. So again here, as you can see, T is the upper limit and 0 is the lower limit. So what you get ln A by A0 minus KT. So this is the property of log or ln. So if you have not learned about this log series, I hope you all have learned about this. So ln A by A0 equal to minus KT. So if you want to convert this ln to log, what you need to do? You need to do a multiplication with 2.303. Why is that? Because in case of ln, the base is always e, whereas in case of log, the base is a 10 base. Okay, so this is the factor to convert from ln to log. So you need to remember that, or otherwise if you have calculator, you can do that using your calculators. So what you get from here, you get 2.303 log A by A0 equal to minus KT. Now let us come back here. So from ln A by A0 equal to minus KT, now if you want to remove this ln from this side, if you want to get rid of this ln, what you need to do, you need to put it on the other side. So what you get, A by A0 equal to e to the power minus KT. Now you write this as like this, A equal to A0 e to the power minus KT. So this is the integrated rate equation for first order reaction. So A equal to A naught e to the power minus kT. So this is also the equation for radioactive decay kinetics. Okay, so that is why I told you that this first order kinetics is very important to understand, because this will also help you to understand the chapter radioactivity. Now let us look at some graphical representation. So what we have seen, A equal to A naught e to the power minus kT is the integrated rate equation for first order reaction. So as you can see, if you increase the time or if you increase the t, here as you are seeing here, from 0 to 1 to 3, 2 to 3, 4, 5, and the time is increasing. That means t is increasing with time. So t is increasing, that means kT is also increasing, because k is a constant, right? So k is not changing with time. That means e to the power minus and then some increasing component with time, increasing time. So that means because of this negative symbol, so the whole quantity is decreasing with time. So as you are increasing in time, the kT is increasing, but the minus kT is decreasing again, and which decreases the exponential quantity. So that means that with time the concentration of the reactant is going to decrease, but this decrease is not linear as you have seen in zero order kinetics, but this decrease is an exponential decrease. So this is called exponential plot, where the concentration of A, if you plot concentration of A with time, you are going to see an exponential decay like this, right? Now if you want to linearize the plot, because all the time what happens, if you can linearize the plot, the calculations become much more easier. Okay, so what you can do, you start with this ln form. So ln A by A naught equal to minus kT, right? So you can write it like this, ln A minus ln A naught equal to minus kT. Now if you plot this ln A versus t, that becomes your y equal to minus mx plus c equation. So this is a straight line with a negative slope minus m. Here the slope becomes minus k, and if you plot ln A versus t, you get a negative slope and straight line like this. You start at time 0, here the time is 0, and at time 0 you have only ln A naught, which is the initial value, and with time it is decreasing, right? Similarly, if you want to plot it like this, where you know that ln A by A naught equal to minus kT, now you just reverse it. So you take this negative sign, you take this negative sign in this form, and then you can reverse it. So this is the property of log. You will understand it if you have already learned it. So this becomes very easy for you. So ln A by A naught equal to minus kT. That means ln A naught by A is equal to kT. Now if you plot ln A naught by A with time, ln A naught by A with time, you get a straight line which looks like y equal to mx, where m is the slope. Here the slope is your k. This is a positive slope, and there is no intercept. As you can see, here you have c, but here you have no c. That means you have no intercept, and this no intercept means that your straight line goes through the origin. As you can see here, this is your origin and it passes through the origin, correct? So this is also a linear equation. So these two plots are called linear plots, and this is called the exponential plot for the first order reaction kinetics. Now let us look at the similar kind of equation, but with log, not ln. Now what we have learned, that if you want to convert this ln to log, you need to add this 2.303, or you need to invoke this 2.303 factor. So if you start with this equation where ln A minus ln A naught equal to minus kT, then you write this equation in terms of log, then it is very simple that you just need to invoke you just need to add this 2.303 factor along with log. So you write it like this: 2.303 log A minus 2.303 log A naught equal to minus kT. So you take it out as a common factor 2.303, and what you get finally, you get log a minus log a naught equal to minus k by 2.303 t. Now similarly, as you have done in case of ln, if you try to plot log a versus t, you get similar type of equation where y equal to minus mx plus c, and but this time the slope changes and slope becomes minus k by 2.303. In case of ln, the slope was only minus ka, but now the slope becomes minus k by 2.303. Similarly, if you try to plot it from here, ln a by a naught equal to minus kt, and you just reverse it by changing this quantity to remove this negative sign, you get ln a naught by a equal to kt. So again, if you try to write this ln in terms of log, you need to add this 2.303 factor, and 2.303 log a naught by a becomes your kt. So plot it log a naught by a versus t. So you have y equal to mx. So y equal to mx is a straight line with a slope m. Here the m is k by 2.303, and you have a straight line which passes through the origin, correct, and this slope is positive slope, but here the slope is negative slope. So these are also, as you can see, these are straight line equations, and these are called linear plots. Now what is the lifetime or the time of completion for first order reaction? So what we have learned, the time of completion means the time required to complete the reaction. Now to complete the reaction means that there will be no reactant remaining, correct? So at that time, at the time of completion, your reactant concentration will be 0. So now you have seen that for first order kinetics, the equation is a equal to a naught e to the power minus kt. So your a becomes 0 at time of completion. So your e to the power minus kt becomes 0, correct? Now here you take both side ln, and you get minus kt equal to ln 0. This ln 0 is undefined, this is infinite, correct? So thus t equal to infinite. So that means that for first order reaction you cannot complete the reaction, never. It takes infinite time. So there is no finite time to complete the reaction, correct? So that means that even if you take reach towards the completion, or towards, if you complete the reaction of 99.9%, 99.99%, but you will never be able to complete the reaction, okay? So it will take infinite time. So you cannot basically it is not possible to complete the reaction with within a finite time limit. Now let us look at the half-life for first order reaction. As we have seen from the definition of half-life, it is the time required for the concentration of the substance to fall to half of its initial value. So this is the equation again we are going to use to formulate the T half. Now at T half, which is written as T prime here, at T half your concentration of A becomes your A naught by 2. So this is A naught by 2 equal to A naught e to the power minus k T prime. So e to the power minus k T prime is equal to your A naught, you can cancel it out, and you get k e to the power minus k T prime equal to A naught by 2 A naught. You take ln both side again, so you get minus k T prime equal to ln half, and you took this negative sign this side, and what you get k T prime equal to ln 2, and thus T prime equal to ln 2 by k. So this T prime is nothing but the time required for the concentration of the substance A to fall to its half of its initial value, which was initial value was A naught, and the half value is A naught by 2. So the half life for the first order reaction is T prime, which is equal to T half. So for first order reaction, the T half equal to ln 2 by k, which is equal to 0.693 by k. This 0.693 is nothing but the value of numerical value of ln 2. Okay, So first order reactions, we have seen that we can write the kinetics as A equal to A naught e to the power minus kt. The time of completion is infinite and the half-life for first order reactions is ln2 by k. Now we can write this first order kinetics equations in different terms as well, different forms. So let us look at some other forms. Now the t half equal to ln2 by k. So we can write that k equal to ln2 by t half. So 1 by k is equal to t half by ln2, correct? So ln a by a naught equal to 1 minus kt. So now kt we can write that ln a naught by a. So t equal to 1 by k ln a naught by a, correct? Now 1 by k that we have seen here, that is equal to t half by ln2. So you put this 1 by k value here and you get t equal to t half by ln2, then ln a naught by a. So ln2 has the numerical value 0.693 and you put it here. So what you get t equal to t half by 0.693 ln a naught by a. Now if you consider this reaction, A is your reactant and B is your product, initially the concentration of A naught, which was A naught, was your small a. Now after t time you lose some reactant molecule. So if you lose x amount of reactant molecule, so after t times the remaining concentration becomes A minus x. So you put these values in the equation here and what you get t equal to t half by 0.693 and then ln A by A minus x. So A is your A naught and A minus x is your concentration of A. So you just put these values here in this equation and you get your final equation here. So this is also an equation which can be used to calculate the time required for any such changes for first order reactions. Now if we try to formulate the rate constant unit that we have also seen in our lecture 2, so what we can do from the equation, you can do like this. You know that for first order reaction A equal to A naught e to the power minus kt. So the unit of concentration, this is the unit of concentration, equal to your unit of concentration into e to the power minus your unit of k into unit of time, because t has the unit of time. But what is important to note here, that for any such exponential factor or exponential part, the whole part must be an unitless number. For exponential, for log, for ln, anything, this should be unitless. Okay, so unit of k into unit of time should be unitless. That means unit of k should have the unit which is just not proportional. This is the inversely proportional with unit of time. So that is 1 by second, which is nothing but your second inverse. So unit of time, unit of k, unit of rate constant for first order reaction is second inverse. Now let us look at some problem or some example question where A is forming your product, A is your reactant. Now consider that the above reaction follows first order kinetics. Now let us consider this will follow first order kinetics. If the half-life is 2 minutes, so t half is given. So how much time is needed to complete the reaction? By 75%. So complete the 75% of the reaction. So how much time is needed? So what is given? T half is given. How much time is needed? We need to calculate. And what is given? The time needed to complete the 75% reaction. So time is required. So we need to follow this equation. Also the T half is given, correct? Now T half is 2 minutes. A is your initial concentration of your reactant. Now the X is 75%, correct? Because the 75% reaction is completed. So X is your 75%, which also can be written as 75% of A is equal to 75 by A by 100, 75 A by 100, which is equal to 0.75 A. So A minus X becomes A minus 0.75 A, which is equal to 0.25 A. So the time required to complete the 75% of the reaction becomes T half by 0.693 A by A minus X. Now A minus X you have 0.25 A, correct? So you put the value of A minus X here and T half value you will put later. So T half by 0.693 equal to, you get ln4 from here. By calculating AA gets cancelled out, and 1 by 0.25 is equal to 4. So what you get 2 T half. So that means that if you have the T half of the reaction is 2 minutes, then the time required to complete the 75% of the reaction is 2 T half, which is equal to 2 into 2, which is equal to 4 minutes. So 4 minutes is the answer. Now let us move to the very interesting topic, which is pseudo first order reactions. Now, as we have already mentioned in our many lectures, that order is an experimental value. So you cannot predict the order of a reaction. For simple reactions, it is easy to predict, but even though you should not predict the order of a reaction. Order can be found out from the experimentally found out rate equation. So from experiments we need to have the rate law first, which will give the order of the reaction, that you all know. So why is that? Because order of the reaction depends on the reaction condition. Okay, now let us look at this example where hydrolysis of ester hydrolysis is happening for a ester. So this is the ester molecule. So you will learn in your organic classes what is ester. Now this is the ester molecule in presence of water and acid. So what it does, it breaks. Okay, so this H2O, which is your H2 addition is happening here, and that is why H2 addition is called hydrolysis. So H2O addition in ester gives you one acid and one alcohol. So what you would expect? You would expect the rate equal to rate constant into the ester concentration and your water concentration. Now let us consider that one reactant is present in large excess compared to the other reactant. So there are two reactants, water and ester. Now let us assume here that water is present in large excess. So water concentration is very high rather than this ester concentration. So in compared to the ester concentration. Now here if you take this like this, initially the ester concentration or ester mole number was 1 mole, but water mole number of water was 100 moles. So as you can see, there is a huge difference. So you started with 1 mole of ester and 100 moles of water, and after the completion of reaction, so at T infinity, as we say that at T infinity, so you have no reactant molecule remaining, so no ester molecule, 0 mole. So clearly this will react with 1 mole of ester will react with 1 mole of water, so you will lose 1 mole of water as well. So number of water molecules or moles of water molecules now becomes 99 mole. So as you can see, the number does not change significantly when you take one reactant in excess. So what we can write? So from this equation, from this rate equation, so what we can write? We can write that water concentration remains almost as constant. So you take this K into H2O as a new constant, which is called a K prime. So this K prime is your K into your H2 concentration. Now as you can see here, the rate becomes K prime and only ester concentration to the power 1. So from this equation, what you will see that this is nothing but a first order reaction, but we assume that this reaction has two reactants, and so it could be a second order reaction. We are not sure, but experimentally we will find out that the rate is nothing but the K prime and only ester concentration to the power 1. So this is a first order reaction. So this is called a pseudo first order reactions, and this is only possible when you take one reagent in excess amount in compared to the other reactant. Okay. Now let us look at some examples of pseudo first order reaction. The hydrolysis of ester is a brilliant example of pseudo first order reaction, and also the inversion of cane sugar is a good example of pseudo first order reaction. What is the inversion of cane sugar? This is the cane sugar, the formula C12H22O11. In presence of water, it breaks and it gives out one glucose and one fructose molecule. So this is called the inversion of cane sugar. This is the reaction scheme, and when you take water in excess than cane sugar, the rate becomes K prime and only cane sugar concentration to the power 1. So as you can see here, this is also a first order reaction when you take this water in excess amount. So this is called a pseudo first order reaction. So what we discussed in our lecture 4, we discussed about first order reactions. We talked about the examples of first order reactions. We talked about the differential rate equation for first order reaction. We talked about the integrated rate equations and the many graphical explanation representations, and also we did one problem on first order kinetics, which is very important to understand it. And we also talked about the pseudo first order reactions with examples. So if you like this video, please like and share amongst your group, and if you have not subscribed as yet, so please do subscribe us and hit the bell icon, so you will not miss a video from our channel and you will get notified from our channel Catalyst for IIT JEE. Thank you very much for your attention.